session, we are going to discuss the factors affecting drug metabolism. So let us see the factors affecting drug metabolism. So this is a disclaimer for all the viewers. Let us see the learning objectives. So after learning this module, you will be able to understand clinical significance of enzyme induction and the enzyme inhibition. What is the impact of the enzyme induction as well as the enzyme inhibition on the metabolism of drug as it is clinically significant. Then you will be able to describe factors affecting to metabolism of the drug. So we are going to discuss factors affecting metabolism of drug. So let us see the factors affecting metabolism of drug. Factors are furthermore divided into the three major parts. Very first factor, that is the physicochemical properties of the drug. As we have discussed the physicochemical properties of the drug in the absorption, in the distribution, similarly, the physicochemical properties of the drug are going to affect the metabolism of the drug. Then the second, that is the chemical factors like enzyme induction, enzyme inhibition, and certain environmental factors. These are going to affect the biotransformation of the drug. There are certain drugs are there which are going to act as a inducer. There are certain drugs are there which are going to act as a inhibitor and thereby alters the metabolism of the drug, and the body concentration, it is going to be increased or it is going to be decreased. Similarly, in the case of environmental factors, say for example smoke, it is going to increase the metabolism of the certain drugs. So either they are going to act as a inducer or they are going to act as a inhibitor. Then the third one, that is the biological factors. These biological factors are furthermore divided as the species difference, then the strain difference, then sex difference, age, diet, altered physiology, and the temporal factors. So these are the various factors which are going to affect the metabolism of the drug. Apart from this, the genetics is the one of the important factor. It is going to alter the metabolism of the drug along with the route of administration and the dose which is given to the patient, that should be considered for the metabolism of the drug. First, the physicochemical properties of the drug. So physicochemical properties of the drugs, they are also going to affect the biotransformation, as these physicochemical properties decides the interaction of the drug molecule with the active sites of the enzyme. Many drugs that undergoes the metabolism exhibit the stereoselective hepatic clearance or stereoselective hepatic metabolism of the drug. As you know that there are so many drugs are there which shows the stereoisomerism or stereoselectivity for the specific enzymes, and depending on that, the metabolism of the drug, it is going to be altered or affected. The physicochemical properties like the molecular size, then shape, then pK of drug, then whether it is acidic or basic in nature, then it's a lipophilicity, then steric and electronic characteristics. These are going to affect the metabolism. As in the, we have seen previously, the microsomal enzymes, they are having the highest affinity towards the lipophilic substrate, isn't it? And they are going to metabolize these drugs. So these are the few physicochemical properties of the drug which are going to affect the metabolism of the drug. The chemical structure, that is a absence or presence of certain functional groups on the structure of the drug, determines its metabolic pathway. Which type of functional group which is present on the structure, that will decide the metabolic pathway. Already we have discussed the types of the structure and functional group present on the drug in the phase 1 reaction, and how they are going to be metabolized by the oxidation, reduction, or the hydrolysis. Say more specifically, if there is a ester linkage which is going to be metabolized by the hydrolysis. So in this way, the physicochemical properties of the drug which are going to affect the biotransformation or the metabolism of the drug. Let us move towards the chemical factors. Very first one, that is enzyme induction. So what is mean by the enzyme induction? So enzyme induction, it is nothing but increase the drug metabolizing ability of the enzyme by the drug. There are certain drugs are there which are going to act as a enzyme inducer. They are going to increase the metabolism of the other drugs. In such cases, it is said to be the enzyme induction. If the metabolism of the drug, it is going to be increased, that will reduce the plasma drug concentration, and furthermore reduces the pharmacological action of the drug. Let us see the properties of enzyme inducers. So all these enzyme inducers are lipophilic in nature. They have the long half-life, long elimination half-life, and substrate for induced enzyme system. There are few drugs are there which are going to promote the release of certain enzymes, and whatever the released enzyme is there, which is responsible for the metabolism of the drug. So the enzyme inducers are the lipophilic in nature. They are having a long elimination half-life, so they are going to present in the systemic circulation or in the body for long period of time, and it is a substrate for induced enzyme system. Let us see how the enzyme inducers increases or promotes the metabolism of the drug, or how they are going to act. There are various ways are there by which enzyme inducers are going to act. Very first one, they are going to increase the liver size and the blood flow towards the liver. If the liver size is going to be increased, if the blood flow towards the liver, it is going to be increased, that will increases the metabolism of the drug. Yet another way, that is the increased total and microsomal protein. So that will promote again the metabolism of the drug, or they are going to increase the stability of released enzymes. Whatever the released enzyme is there, it is going to be stabilized by these enzyme inducers, and thereby they're going to act as a inducer. Then the proliferation of smooth endoplasmic reticulum, that will again promote the metabolism of the drug, and increase the synthesis of cytochrome P450 and reduce the degradation of cytochrome P450. So these enzyme inducers, either they are going to promote the synthesis of cytochrome P450, which is responsible for metabolism, or they are going to reduce the degradation of the cytochrome P450. So these are the certain ways by which the enzyme inducers are going to act, or they are going to promote the release of the enzymes which are responsible for the metabolism of the drug. Let us see the classification of enzyme inducers. Enzyme inducers are furthermore classified as a phenobarbital type inducers, then polycyclic hydrocarbon type inducers, and the atto inducers, or you can say it as atto induction. So in the first case, there is a phenobarbital type of inducers. So phenobarbital, it is going to act as an enzyme inducer for the so many types of the drug, and they are going to promote the metabolism of these drugs. It increases the enzyme activity 4 times. Phenobarbital, it is going to act as a inducer for the phenytoin, warfarin, testosterone, and so on, and thereby reduces the concentration of these drugs. As here, the phenytoin and warfarin, it is having a narrow therapeutic index, and if there is a small change in the PDC, that may leads to the large change in the pharmacological activity as well as the toxic effects. The second class, that is the polycyclic hydrocarbon type inducers. Polycyclic hydrocarbons are generally present in the cigarette smoke, and which can cause increased metabolism and elimination of certain drugs. For example, theophylline. So the metabolism of the theophylline, it is going to be promoted by the cigarette smoke. So this is an example for the second class, that is a polycyclic hydrocarbon type inducers. And the third class, that is auto induction. These are the drugs which are going to increase the metabolism of the self. For example, carbamazepine, meprobamate, rifampicin, they are going to act as a self-inducers. They are going to promote the release of the enzymes which are responsible for the metabolism of the same drug. For example, carbamazepine. Then the examples of the drugs which are going to act as a enzyme inducers, like barbiturates, alcohol, phenytoin, rifampicin, and the cigarette smoke. Let us see the remaining part from the enzyme induction, that is the consequences of enzyme induction and certain examples. So let us see first the consequences of the enzyme induction. So enzyme induction, it is going to increase the rate of metabolism. Thereby, it reduces the plasma drug concentration. If the rate of metabolism, it is going to be increased, automatically plasma drug concentration, it is going to be reduced. If the drug, it is given by the oral route of administration, in such cases, the first pass metabolism of drug, it is going to be enhanced or it is going to be increased. So furthermore, it reduces the bioavailability of the drug. If metabolite is active or reactive, it may produce the pharmacological effects or the toxic effect. If the metabolite, it is active in nature, no doubt we will get the pharmacological effect. If it is a reactive, if it is a toxic, we will get the certain adverse effects. So these are the certain consequences of the enzyme induction. Let us see the examples related to the inducers of drug metabolizing enzyme system and drugs commonly affected by them. So very first class, that is a barbiturate. They are going to act as a enzyme inducers for the coumarin, phenytoin, cortisol, testosterone, and the oral contraceptive, and thereby the activity of these drugs are going to be reduced. Then alcohol, it is going to act as a enzyme inducer for the pentobarbital, coumarin, and phenytoin. Then phenytoin, it is going to act as an enzyme inducer for the cortisol, coumarin, oral contraceptive, and the tolbutamide. Then rifampicin, it is going to act as an enzyme inducer for coumarin, oral contraceptive, tolbutamide, and the rifampicin. That is autoinduction. Then the cigarette smoke, it is going to act as an enzyme inducer for theophylline, nicotine, and aminoacidides. So these are the certain examples of the inducers and the metabolism of the drugs which is going to be affected. So this is about the enzyme induction. Let us move towards the enzyme inhibition. Enzyme inhibition, it is nothing but the drug inhibit the drug metabolizing ability, or it decreases the drug metabolizing ability. In such cases, it is said to be the enzyme inhibition. If the enzyme, it is responsible for the metabolism of the certain drugs, and if such enzymes are going to be inhibited by the other drug, in such cases, it is said to be the enzyme inhibition. So enzyme inhibition, it is furthermore classified as a direct inhibition and the indirect inhibition. Direct inhibition, it is furthermore classified as competitive inhibition, non-competitive inhibition, and the product inhibition. And indirect inhibition, it is furthermore classified as a repression and the altered physiology. In the case of competitive inhibition, there is two structurally similar compounds. They are going to be compete for the enzyme, and the interaction is the structure specific. For example, methacholine inhibit metabolism of acetylcholine by competing with it for the choline esterase. So methacholine, it is having the highest affinity, so it is going to bound to the choline esterase, and thereby the metabolism of acetylcholine, it is going to be reduced. So in such cases, it is said to be the competitive inhibition, and that will be decided by the affinity of drug molecule towards the specific enzyme. Then non-competitive inhibition, compounds are not structurally similar, interaction is not structure specific. As in the case of competitive inhibition, interaction is the structure specific. Means two drugs are there, they are having a similar in structure, and they are having the similar affinity, or they are having affinity towards the certain enzymes, and that affinity will decide the metabolism of the drug. So in the case of non-competitive inhibition, compounds are not structurally similar, interaction is not structure specific. For example, isoniazide inhibit the metabolism of phenytoin. Both the structure are different, isn't it? By same mechanism. For example, heavy metals, organophosphorus, insecticides inhibits the enzyme non-competitively. So here, in the case of first example, isoniazide and phenytoin, isoniazide inhibit the metabolism of phenytoin. The enzyme which is required for metabolism of phenytoin, which is being inhibited by the isoniazide, and thereby the metabolism of phenytoin, it is going to be reduced and its plasma concentration increased. Let us move towards the product inhibition. So here, in the case of product inhibition, metabolic product competes with the substrate enzyme, isn't it? In such cases, it is said to be the auto inhibition. In the case of direct inhibition, the xanthine oxidase inhibitors such as allopurinol and MAO inhibitors also inhibit the enzyme activity directly, and whatever the direct inhibition is there, it is very rapid, and one single dose is sufficient to inhibit the activity of the enzyme or to inhibit the metabolism of the drug. Let us move towards the indirect inhibition. Indirect inhibition, it is furthermore divided into the repression and the altered physiology. So the repression, it is a decrease in enzyme content due to reduction in the synthesis. The synthesis of enzyme, it is going to be reduced by the certain drugs like ethionine, puromycin, and actinomycin. Or there is a rise in the rate of enzyme degradation. No doubt, enzyme is synthesized, enzyme is released, but its degradation rate, it is going to be promoted by the certain drug, for example, disulfiram and carbon tetrachloride, and thereby the metabolism of drug, it is going to be reduced, and in such cases it is said to be the repression. Then second case, that is the altered physiology. Due to physiological changes, there is an alteration in the metabolism of drug, or there is an inhibition due to certain nutritional deficiencies or the hormonal imbalance. Let us see the remaining details about the enzyme inhibition. Let us see first the consequences of the enzyme inhibition. So enzyme inhibition, as here the metabolism of drug, it is going to be inhibited. So automatically there is a rise in the plasma concentration of parent drug. Then there is a reduction in the metabolite concentration. Then exaggerated and prolonged pharmacological effect, as the metabolism of drug, it is going to be reduced. Definitely the pharmacological effect of the drug, it is going to be increased. There is an increased likelihood of a drug induced toxicity. There may be the chances, as there is a rise in the PDC, there might be chances of the toxicities of the certain drugs. Enzyme inhibition, it is a more important clinically than the enzyme induction for the drug having narrow therapeutic index, as the enzyme inhibition, it is more important clinically than the enzyme induction for the drug having the narrow therapeutic index. Narrow therapeutic index drug, if there is a small change in the plasma concentration, that may be increase in the PDC, or that will increase the plasma drug concentration and leads to the certain toxic effects or the adverse effect due to the inhibition, and that may be lethal to the patient. And that's why enzyme inhibition, it is clinically more important than that of the enzyme induction when the drug is having the narrow therapeutic index. For example, warfarin, which is having a very narrow therapeutic index. The examples of the enzyme inhibition, so here inhibitor and drug with decreased metabolism. Very first class, that is a MAO inhibitors, they are going to inhibit the metabolism of barbiturates and tyramine. Then coumarin, they are going to inhibit the metabolism of phenytoin. Then allopurinol, they're going to inhibit the metabolism of 6-mercaptopurine. And PAS, which are going to inhibit the metabolism of phenytoin and hexobarbital. So here which we have finished the enzyme inhibition from the chemical factors. Let us see the environmental factors. No doubt, environmental factors, they are having either they are going to act as an enzyme inhibitor or they are going to act as an enzyme inducers. For example, DDT and cigarette smoke, it is going to act as the enzyme inducer for the certain drug, and the organoleptic insecticides as well as the heavy metals, they are going to act as a enzyme inhibitor, and thereby the environmental factors are going to alter the biotransformation or the metabolism of the drug. So this is about the chemical factors, that is enzyme induction, enzyme inhibition, and the environmental factor. Let us move towards the biological factors, altered physiological factors, and the temporal factor. So biological factor, as we have seen previously, that is a species difference, strain difference, sex difference, age and diet. Altered physiological factors like pregnancy, hormonal imbalance, disease state, and temporal factors like circadian rhythm. So let us see first the species difference. Definitely the species difference, it is going to affect the metabolism. Species to species, the metabolizing capacity, it is going to be changed, and according to that, the metabolism of drug, it is going to be affected. Here I have cited the two examples. Very first one, that is a phenylbutazone, and second one, that is a graphical, that is a hexobarbital. So in the case of phenylbutazone, the elimination half-life in the rabbits is a 3 hour. In the case of rat, guinea pig, and dog, it is a 6 hour, and in the humans, it's a 3 days, isn't it? Means definitely, if there is a wide variation in the elimination half-life, that indicates that the metabolizing capacity in the different species, it is different, isn't it? In the case of rabbits, there is a high metabolizing capacity for the phenylbutazone as compared to the human beings. Let us see the second example, that is a hexobarbital. Very first one, that is a mice. Second one, that is a rabbit. Third one, that is a rat. And fourth one, that is a dog. So the enzyme activity for the hexobarbital metabolism in the different species, see the graph. In the case of mice, there is a high enzyme activity when it is compared with the rabbits, rats, and the dogs. So species difference, it is going to affect the metabolism of the drug. Let us move towards the strain difference. So differences in the strain, it is going to affect the metabolism of the drug. Here I have cited the example of the isoniazid. In certain cases, it is fastly metabolized, and in certain cases, it is slowly metabolized. Isoniazide, it is known to be acetylated by the N-acetyl transferase into inactive metabolite. So the enzyme capacity, that is N-acetyl transferase, which will decide the metabolism of the isoniazide. And the rate of acetylation in the Asian people is higher or faster than that of the Europeans or the North American people. So in the case of Asian people, the rate of acetylation means rate of metabolism, it is faster for the isoniazide than the Europeans or the North American peoples. The fast acetylators are more prone to hepatotoxicity because at a faster rate, the drug, it is going to be metabolized and acetylated products are formed, and that may be toxic than the slow acetylator. As isoniazide metabolism is fast in the whites and slow in the Eskimos. So the strain differences, it is going to affect the enzyme capacity or the enzymatic activity, and thereby furthermore alters the metabolism of the drug. Let us move towards the sex difference. Definitely the sex difference, it is going to affect the metabolism. Responsiveness to certain drugs is different in the men and women, as there are the so many hormonal changes are there in men's and women's, and definitely that will alter the metabolic capacity. So male shows the greater metabolism than the females. So the hormonal changes during the development have profound effect on the drug metabolism in the case of males as well as the women's. The metabolism of diazepam, caffeine, and paracetamol, it is faster in the females than that of the male. So this is the best example, as females are having the good metabolic capacity for the diazepam, caffeine, and paracetamol than the males, and oxidative metabolism of the lidocaine, chlorodiazepoxide are faster in the males than the females. So in this way, the sex difference, it is going to affect the biotransformation of the drug. Generally, the male shows the greater metabolism than that of the females. The hormonal changes, they are going to have the major effect on the metabolism of the drug. Let us move towards the age. Yes, age, it is a important factor which is going to affect the metabolism. Let us see first the neonates, which are having age 0 to 2 months. As metabolizing organs, metabolizing capacity, it is not that much developed in the neonates. It is under the developing stage. So there is a slow biotransformation of the drug, and most of the drug, it is eliminated as a unchanged without metabolism, isn't it? In the case of caffeine, the neonate shows the half-life of about 4 days when it is compared with the adult half-life, that is a 4. So the half-life of the certain drugs, they are going to be increased in the case of neonates, as biotransformation process, it is not well developed in the neonates. Then, as already previously we have seen the example of the bilirubin in the neonates, there is increased levels of bilirubin, and that may lead to the kernicterus. Then already we have discussed the example of chloramphenicol, which may lead to the gray baby syndrome. Furthermore, the sulfonamides, they are going to produce the renal toxicity, and the paracetamol, it is going to produce the hepatotoxicity. It is due to the metabolic capacity for these drugs are not well developed in the neonates, and that may be lethal to the neonates in the case of sulfonamide, paracetamol, and the chloramphenicol. Then infants which are having the age 2 months to 1 year, it is the same as the neonates with a improved enzyme activity. Certainly, as age goes on, the enzymatic activity, it is going to be improved, but still the certain drugs shows the toxicities in the infants also. Let us see the children which are having age between 1 to 12 years. Yes, here in the case of children, all metabolizing organs are developed well, and there is a fast biotransformation and requires large dose of drug. Say for example, the normal adult dose is 100 milligram. In the case of children, it may be 200 to 400 milligram, and it is due to high metabolic capacity of the children along with the changes in the distribution and the metabolism. In the case of children, there is a reduction in the elimination half-life of theophylline than the adults. In the case of adult, the normal half-life for theophylline is 4 to 6 hours. In the case of children, it may get reduced to 1 to 2 hours. So high doses are required in the case of children. Then the elderly person, in the elderly person, the liver size is reduced. So automatically, if there is any reduction in the liver size, definitely that will reduce the metabolism of drug. Then microsomal enzyme activity, it is going to be reduced. Then blood flow towards the liver, that is related to as cardiac output is going to be reduced, that will reduces the blood flow towards the liver. And furthermore, in all these, the phase 1 reactions are going to be altered. The conjugation reactions are not going to be affected in the elderly person. Only the phase 1 or functionalization reactions are going to be altered due to reduce the cardiac output, reduce the microsomal enzyme activity, and reduce the liver size. So in this way, the age, it is going to affect the biotransformation of the drug. Let us move towards the diet. Yes, diet, it is one of the important factor, and which is going to alter the metabolism of the drug. As you know that the diet, it is rich with the carbohydrate, diet which is rich with the proteins, and diet which is rich with the fats. They are having the different activity on the metabolizing enzymes. So the diet which is low with the protein decreases the metabolizing ability. If the diet which is a deficient with the protein, in such cases the metabolizing ability, it is going to be reduced because of reduction in the enzyme synthesis, as the amino acids or proteins which are required for the synthesis of enzymes. If the diet, it is poor with the proteins, definitely that will reduce the metabolizing ability of the drug. Then diet which is rich with the proteins increases. In contrast to that, the diet which is rich with the proteins increases the metabolizing ability of the drug due to increase in the enzyme synthesis. High protein carbohydrate ratio increases mixed function oxidase activity, and thereby the phase 1 biotransformations are going to be increased. Then fat-free diet decreases the CYP450 levels. In contrast to that, if the diet which is rich with the free fats increases the levels of CYP450 levels, and thereby the metabolism of drug. The vitamin deficiency of A, C, E, and B can result in a decrease in oxidative pathway in case of vitamin C deficiency, while vitamin E deficiency decreases the dealkylation and hydroxylation. If diet which is deficient with certain enzyme, the metabolizing ability of enzymes or metabolizing ability, it is going to be reduced. Then the deficiencies of calcium, magnesium, zinc decreases the drug metabolizing capacity, whereas the iron deficiency increases the metabolizing capacity. The essential fatty acids like linoleic acid deficiency reduces the metabolism of ethyl morphine and hexobarbital by decreasing the certain drug metabolizing enzymes. As there is one best example, that is a grapefruit juice, which decreases the metabolism of many drugs and thereby increases the bioavailability of the drug when it is given orally. Then starvation decreases the amount of glucuronide formation, thereby reduces the phase 2 biotransformation. Then malnutrition in women increases the metabolism of the sex hormones, and alcohol ingestion results in a short-term decrease followed by increase in the enzyme activity. So in this way, the diet, it is going to affect the metabolism of the drug. Let us move towards the altered physiological factors. Very first one, that is a pregnancy. In the case of pregnancy, the metabolizing ability, it is going to be decreased. It is due to high levels of the steroidal hormone. As in the case of pregnancy, the steroidal hormones are going to be increased, and that may reduce the metabolizing ability of the drug. So metabolism of promethazine or pethidine, it is going to be reduced. The metabolism of anticonvulsant, it is going to be increased due to induction by the circulating progesterone. So here in the second case, the progesterone, it is going to act as an enzyme inducer for the certain anticonvulsants, isn't it? And they are going to reduce the plasma levels of the anticonvulsant. Let us see the hormonal imbalance. So the hormonal imbalance, it is going to act as a enzyme inducer as well as the enzyme inhibitor, and thereby alters the biotransformation of the drugs. Let us move towards the disease states. There are so many diseases like diseases related to the liver, kidney, then congestive cardiac failure and myocardial infarction, then the diabetes, which is going to affect the metabolism of drug. In the first case, that is the liver. So as you know that liver is a primary site for the metabolism, and most of the drug, it is going to be metabolized by the enzyme which are produced in the liver. So the diseases related with the liver like hepatic carcinoma, then hepatitis, cirrhosis, then obstructive jaundice. So all these diseases, they're going to decrease the efficiency of liver and thereby the metabolism of the drug. In the case of kidney, the glycine conjugation of salicylate, then oxidation of vitamin D, then hydrolysis of procaine impaired in the renal diseases. In the case of congestive cardiac failure and myocardial infarction, there is a decrease in blood flow to the liver, and furthermore, the metabolism of high extraction ratio drug, it is going to be reduced. For example, propranolol and lidocaine, these drugs are having the high extraction ratio, or you can say it as a high first pass metabolism. As soon as they appear to the liver, the drugs are going to be metabolized. So if there is any alteration in the blood flow, that may alters the metabolism of drug and increases the plasma drug concentration. In the case of diabetes, the glucuronation, it is going to be decreased. So in this way, the disease states are going to affect the metabolism of the drug. Let us see the circadian rhythm. So diurnal variation or variations in the enzyme activity with the light cycle, that is a dark and light cycle, you can say. So the enzyme activity, it is a maximum in the early in the morning, isn't it? So automatically the metabolism of drug, it is more in the early in the morning. Enzyme activity, it is minimum in the late afternoon. The examples of the drugs like aminopyrine, hexobarbital, and the imipramine. So this is about the temporal factor. Let us see the some miscellaneous important factors which are going to affect the metabolism of the drug. Very first one, that is a genetic variation. As already we have discussed the example of isoniazide, that is some patients are the fast acetylators and some are the slow acetylators. Similarly, there is a genetic variation in the groups which may alter the metabolism of the drug. Wide variability in the responses to drug between the individuals due to the genetic makeup, and consequences of such variation may be the therapeutic failure or adverse effect. If the metabolism is increased, definitely there will be the therapeutic failure, and if the metabolism of drug it is inhibited, that may lead to the adverse effect. So genetic diversity, it is the rule rather than the exceptions with all proteins, including the drug metabolizing enzymes, and inheritance leads to the genetic polymorphism with different drug metabolizing abilities. That is a lack of activity. We are not getting the activity, reduction in the catalytic ability, or enhanced enzymatic activity. So the frequency of polymorphism often varies according to the ethnic ancestry of the individual, and mostly the CYP2D6 is highly polymorphic. It's that is a CYP2D6. Its expression leads to three phenotypes. That is extensive metabolizers, that is EM, have a functional enzyme activity. Then intermediate metabolizers, that is IM, have a diminished enzyme activity, and poor metabolizers, that is a PM, have a little or no activity. The example is 5 to 10% of Caucasians and 1 to 2% of Asians exhibit the PM phenotype. PM phenotype means poor metabolizers, have a little or no activity. Let us see the drug dosing and routes of administration. So if we are unnecessarily increasing the dose of the drug, what will happen? That will increase the plasma drug concentration, and which will saturate the certain metabolic enzymes. Once the metabolic enzyme, it is going to be saturated, the drug, it is going to take the another or alternative pathway, isn't it? So this is the effect of the drug dosing. Then the routes of administration, that is the orally administered drugs are subjected to hepatic metabolism. As all of you are aware about that, when the drugs are given by the oral route of administration through hepatic portal 1, when it reaches initially to the liver, and that may leads to the first pass metabolism. If the drug it is given by the sublingually or rectally, in both the cases, it avoids the first pass metabolism. As nitroglycerin, it is ineffective when it is given by the oral route, as due to hepatic metabolism. And if it is given sublingually, we are getting the effect of nitroglycerin. Then IV administration, it is also going to avoid the first pass effect, because drug is delivered directly to the bloodstream and it is going to be circulated all over the body. So in all, if the drug it is going to be given by the oral route of administration, such a drug shows the high hepatic first pass metabolism. So these are the various factors which are going to affect the metabolism of the drug or the biotransformation of the drug. In the today's session, we have seen the significance of the enzyme induction and the inhibition along with the certain examples, and we have discussed the various factors affecting to metabolism of the drug. These are the some references which I have referred. Apart from these references, I have also referred the Medicinal Chemistry by Foy and Wilson Griswold. Thank you very much.